Hello, hello,
Yay! That we
hello.
have an opener.
Yay,
Yes.
it didn't delete itself, and I survived the night trying to make it because that's the worst. The worst is not having an opener and then watching the same one that you had the season before.
It's like, damn it. That's okay. We are ahead of the game this week. Yay! Look at us. Look at
Yay.
us. And I'm not hearing beeping, which means that you fixed your smoke alarm.
I did something.
Did you poke it with a broom?
I did multiple times. Because it was not satisfied the first time. But for those that don't know us, welcome to your Wednesday night conversation. This is Let's Have a Fefe. I'm Felicia Fefe Minor, and over there, to my surprise, is Freddy Prince Charming.
Look, I
And he
kind of
knows.
honestly, I kind of threw this together. It was a little.
Well, if
I
you can
had
fix
some.
it up
I
by
was.
the first, that'd be great.
I had
Um,
some issues.
don't I know? Don't I know about that?
Uh,
Uh, and for more than a decade, we have been doing this, but we still are a hot mess for you to watch.
you're
hmm
welcome.
Yeah. If you want exclusive content of this Hot Mess Express, you can go to our Patreon. And I hate how my voice sounds, so I apologize to anybody on the podcast that hears it
Are you
today. I don't
stuffy?
like it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, everybody I know is either dealing with migraines or like sinus issues or stuff this week.
so if you too want to help us overcome our sinus issues and support us, you can log on to our Patreon for as little as $1. You can
You can
help
afford
2
Sudafed.
drag entertainers clear their sinuses. And we'd like to thank our patrons Brandon, Chris, and Michelle, Dee, Drake Jensen, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Leanne, Nicole, and Shannon. And a big thanks to Wigs of a Kind. This big old masterpiece is by Marissa of Wigs of a Kind.
This is not a
And
wigs. Ooh, this is not a wigs of a kind wig, unfortunately. But it
um,
is a very nice lace front.
uh-huh. Um, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, you can support us by either sending us a DM if you want to do an in-kind of trade, or not trade like that, but trade as in trades of goods and
I
services.
mean, yeah, if you've got like if you do jewelry or whatever and you want us to like throw your stuff on the show, we are happy to do that. We've been able to help like boost
Hashtag we have
a
more
few
than
places.
10,000
So
downloads in a
mhm.
season. So,
I mean, we're not gonna make you millionaires, but you know, we might be able to help boost your
I
sales,
mean,
you
we
know,
made
so
$20 last season, so we're
hey.
getting somewhere, but
Mhm.
anyhow, you can donate to us or sponsor us by going to paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. I did not text anybody this week, so I'm so sorry. But you can text LHAF to 602-730-7379 for updates about the show and other shows like the show that we have coming up on Friday. Also, if you're on Facebook, down below is the star button, and you can click that, and we'll get some portion of proceeds. We like to thank Justin Sider for donating some stars last week. Um,
Yay.
we we love it. We love it. We love the stars.
How was your weekend?
Um, this. Um, I tr-
Ah,
it sounds like I have a honker. Um, I really did. I had a productive weekend though. Um, so for weeks I have been chasing this pile of laundry, and um, like as a parent, Um, I think that all of us that are parents can relate to this. Like, you think, "Oh, the laundry is done." And then, like, next thing you know, you're like, "Wait, now I'm putting my clothes in. Oh, no, now there's more clothes over there from them." And
Oh, no, no, no. No, our kids do their own laundry.
oh, well, yours is
Screw that.
of age. So, um, s
Just
somebody
get her a stool, get her a little step stool.
oh, no,
It'll be
no, thank
fine.
you. No, thank you. Um, so laundry was just piling it up, and I feel like sometimes I chaos is to be expected, but I feel like sometimes the chaos needs to be cleaned up because it's kind of a representation of, like, your mental state. Uh, Maybe it's just me, but, my mental state in this room right now is very disastrous. But, like, when it comes
Uh,
to laundry or a place that I, like, occupy full time, I guess I'm in here a lot too, but, like, the laundry, I see
no,
it
I
and
get it. I get it. I
I'm
get
like,
it.
"Oh my god, it needs to go down," yet it's still sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my god." Or one week I did, like, enough for us to get by, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll get it during the week." Yeah, all the laundry. Um, I thought, "Oh, I'll get it during the week." Did that happen? No, not at all. Did I attempt to? I did, but did it work? No. Mm-mm.
I
Or I
mean,
did it one day out of
it's the
all of the
thought
days,
that counts. It's the thought that counts.
but it does not
So,
get rid of the laundry.
I mean, I guess I had a busier weekend than you. I don't know if it was super productive, but it was busy. We ended up going to opening day at the Ren Fair on Saturday. That was fun. And I found out that Dee totally guilted them into dressing up by bringing up one of my exes. Like, apparently, I left the room for a minute, and Dee was like, this stuff is really important to Freddie because his
No
ex wouldn't
way.
let him do. Oh no, really? I was like, what? I found out afterwards, and I was like,
Oh my goodness.
I was like, great. Thanks for using my trauma to guilt the kids into dressing up. But it was fine. They went, they had fun.
Did they have
We
fun?
Yes, yeah, they had fun. We ended up putting the youngest went in one of Dee's like corsets that didn't
She says
um
they already
mhm,
agreed. She just
mhm.
sealed the deal.
Yeah, that's not the way it was put to me. Um, but like she wore like a blue like Renaissance dress and then one of Dee's corsets, which was a little big for her, so
Oh,
it
is this
didn't
the
like
one where I
tight.
read about the, feeling like
Yes.
you're being
And then
hugged?
while we were there, we decided, let's go take her over here and put her in a real corset so she can see because she was like, "Oh, I really like the way this feels." Because corsets kind of feel like a hug, It's like that,
Uh-huh.
if you get one that fits you, it's actually feels really good. So we took her over to the Boss Wench over, which is one of the little like stores at the Ren Fair, and put her in the corset that actually fit her. And I was watching Dee's face. I'm like, oh God, don't cry. Please don't cry. Please don't cry. Please don't cry. Because it was like you have a 14-year-old that all of a sudden is in a corset that gives her a figure. And it was like, oh shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like, oh boy. But
Mama's little girl.
she looked great. She did. It was sort of like okay, she's not a little kid anymore. Um but I have a sneaking suspicion that a real corset will probably be in her wardrobe sometime in the relatively near future. I think that she'll probably end up
Oh,
like wanting one. Um, and then emails got sent out about Phoenix Fan Fusion. So that was super fun.
maybe I should
I'm
yeah.
I'm really excited about the cast for this year. We've got lots of familiar faces, folks that we like that have been in it in previous years, and then we've also got a bunch of new people, which is really exciting. We had to change it up this year and actually have submissions because there's been so much interest, and it's like, well, how do we choose who comes in and who doesn't, and you know what I mean. So we opened up for submissions, so that was really exciting to see. We got a lot of submissions, a lot of really good ideas, so that's exciting. I finalized the set list for Wild Wild West Con. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. um
I got a lot of work to
there's
do.
it's like no, I don't want to talk about it. There's like such a like a good range of music. There's some good like rock numbers. There's some like R&B in there. There's like
Mm.
some slow burns and like some show tunes. Like there's everything. It's fantastic. I'm so excited. Um, and
Some of the
then
people I didn't realize were on the cast until you put the cast list out, and I was like, oh,
it's
not.
it's
I'm not against. Let me redo that again. Like I'm excited. Sorry. Like I was like, oh, I didn't realize we were gonna put all these people in one room. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. It's gonna be
Yep, we
tasty and
are.
delicious.
We are, and it's a diverse cast. It's like a super diverse cast on
It's gonna be
purpose.
tasty and delicious, like I said. That means there's seasoning in between.
Mm. No miracle whip and Wonder Bread here. That's not how that works. And then we got a new fish tank, which is kind of fun. It's a 10-gallon fish tank, but it's got like an angled front, which is kind of cool.
What?
And we're going like mostly like natural in it, so like plants and wood and substrate and all that good stuff. Um,
Are you gonna have
and
animals in it?
Yeah, there's already a beta, and there's a snail, and there's 3 shrimp. We got we didn't even think about it, but when we got the shrimp, we got a red one, a blue one, and a yellow one. And because we're nerds, the red one is Riker, the blue one is Crusher,
Of
and the yellow one is
course.
Jordy. You're welcome. Hey, Andy, what's up? So yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. But yeah, I mean that was, like I said, we had a busy weekend, but it wasn't necessarily productive. I didn't get anything done that I probably should have gotten done, but that's fine because I like the Ren Fair. It's
You
my
got
happy
the set
place.
list done,
I got the set list done,
and you sent out emails,
and I sent out emails,
and
and I did the set list for this Friday as well. So I was doing
you. There
things.
we have it. There we have
I was
it.
doing things. So speaking of doing things, so it's been a while. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, it's been a while since we've done an NSFW
Uh-huh.
tip. Like we usually we've been talking about different things and different sort of the but it's been a while since we've done anything sort of like sexy.
Sexy.
So
Oh, wow. Sexy.
and
Hi, Laura.
I don't even know what the hell.
I feel like
I was trying to
everybody's
think of
creeping in
something that like
tonight.
I know
People
it's
creeping
great.
in.
I was trying to think of like something that we either haven't talked about or something we haven't talked about in a while, and I don't remember. Have
We
we ever
talked
talked
about,
about this?
we have brushed on the topic of
So
fisting.
never specifically.
No. Oh, you know where we do talk about it a lot is at a place that we worked before.
Correct. All right.
Uh-huh.
So tonight's just the tip, folks. We are. That's funny.
Indeed. Freddie looks horny.
Um. So for tonight's just the tip, we are gonna be talking about fisting. Yay!
Yay!
All right. So, few things. First of all, need everybody to. I don't. This is gonna be said a couple of times throughout the tip, so just to keep reiterating. Fisting, if not done right, can be dangerous and lead to serious injuries. Not everybody is made for fisting, and communication is key.
I
That
don't
is
think I'm
like,
made for fisting.
definitely. That is something to keep in mind, and it will be reiterated a few times throughout the tip. Fisting can happen both anally and vaginally.
Really?
So if you only have one of those,
I have not
it can
seen that.
happen. I mean, it can also happen at the same time, technically.
Oh. Oh.
If you want to double fist it, it's a thing. But
See, folks, I'm still learning stuff. This has been what? This is like
and
year 11. I'm still learning stuff.
and generally, despite what it's actually called, doesn't generally actually involve like a fist and like the punching motion. Now it can. But
Oh.
most people, for most
You're
people, that
welcome.
is not accurate. Oh, hey, you're welcome.
PBS
So just
After Dark.
keep that in mind. So, some basic things that you would come to expect are a feeling of pressure, not
Mm.
like, oh my God, pressure, but like actual physical pressure. Some pain or discomfort. Now, when I say pain, I don't mean like unbearable pain. Think about like
Huh.
if you're having anal sex, there's always that kind of moment of like when you're getting warmed up and you put stuff in, there's always that moment of like you take a deep breath and it's like, okay, now I'm better. Like it shouldn't be like, oh my God, this really fucking hurts. That's just like with anal sex, you don't want it that way. You don't want that at all. And another thing you could experience is a sense of fullness, obviously, because you've got something very large and something that is not very large.
Interesting.
A few reasons why someone might enjoy fisting, both giving and receiving, is that some people really like being able to test their limits.
Uh-huh.
Because fisting is a kink. It is absolutely a
Uh-huh.
kink. So some people kind of like being able to see how far they can go. How big can I, of a thing can I put in my orifice? So it's one of those things. Hey, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Look what I put in my thing. Um, if people enjoy larger insertables, whether that be toys or well endowed penises, things like that, um, they would probably enjoy fisting. It can increase intimacy because it can be a very like it can be a very emotional thing. It can be a very intimate thing. So it can actually increase that intimacy between partners, and it can also result in some crazy intense orgasms.
Pause. Are you gonna talk about why this is so intimate, like emotional?
I can.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why it can be, and mind you, it's not always super emotional or intimate or whatever, but it can be depending on your partner. Like,
Uh-huh.
don't look at porn and be like, oh, I'm going to strive for that, because that's don't do that.
Oh,
But
they make it seem like it's like
yeah, we no, don't use porn as like a baseline. Like we don't want to
yeah,
do
that's
that.
not your learning tool.
No, 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 no. So one of the reasons that one of the things that can make it so intimate, especially with partners, is that for one thing, you are trusting somebody if you're on the receiving end,
Mm.
and if you're on the giving end, someone is trusting you to put basically your entire hand into them. So they're trusting you. There's a lot of trust involved. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen. There's like there's a lot of there's that connection between the person. Jesus.
Oh boy. Wait, hold on.
Y'all welcome. Hey, welcome to Let's Have a Fefe, where we're going to talk about fisting.
You're welcome. Look, let's see. Laura says they had a drunk girlfriend that wanted to not fish her, but fist her. Um, she woke up wondering why she was sore down there, and Laura has big hands, it seems.
So, some fisting myths, and we'll get to some do's and don'ts, but the fisting myths, you will not become incontinent, regardless of what whole things are happening. Like you're not just suddenly going to become incontinent. That's not how that works. Your butt or a vagina will not be permanently ruined for any other kind of sex. Like it's not just gonna stay the size of someone's fist and then you're never gonna be able to.
Oh.
That's not how that works. Skin is elastic. It stretches and then goes back to where it is. Because if that were the case, anybody that ever had a baby would end up with like the vaginal canal would be this big forever.
Oh my god.
Like that's no, like
There would be a
skin,
lot
like
of whistling going
the
on.
body, right? Like things would be very awkward down there. Like you don't. You know what?
And
Now,
your trips to the OB would be very interesting if it did
right?
not.
They wouldn't have to do anything. They just have to go. Oh nope, I see it. It's right there. Hang on, I'm gonna. They don't even. They don't have to like. They
Well, I
don't.
see it's
Need
open
to
from the
speculate,
last time we were down there. Yeah.
right? They just get a ruler out and check the diameter. Like that's not no. So because bodies are the way they are, you may not be as tight as you
Uh-huh.
were if you engage in lots of fisting, because it's going to result in some body modification, because that's just the way bodies work. That's just the way
Uh-huh.
bodies work. But
Okay.
no, you are not going to have a football-sized hole for the rest of your life. That's not how. But it's just the way it is. It doesn't like. It's just. It's not. You will not have
A gaping
holes this
hole.
big for the rest of your life if you are fisting somebody. That's not a thing. All right, so let's get into some of the do's and don'ts coming with
Oh my god.
fisting. So
There's
do's,
always
here's the
rules.
list of do's. Make sure your nails are trimmed and filed.
Oops.
Yeah, Felicia says it's not going to work so well.
I,
like
I'll work on it.
that's just not. I
Sorry, babe.
sometimes see
I'm so
people with like
sorry.
super long nails like talk about fisting, and I'm like, you're just looking to injure somebody. Like that's not. And even if your nails are trimmed, and even if this is a regular partner, whatever, I still recommend using gloves.
Why is that?
I would stay away from latex gloves because a lot of people have a latex allergy or a latex sensitivity. But gloves are awesome because number one, they will create a smoother surface. So even if you have rough hands, if your nails aren't maybe as clean and tidy as they should be, maybe you had a hangnail and now you have a boo-boo, like whatever, the gloves will protect from things like infection, STIs, and create a smooth surface. So you're
Amen.
not going to be dealing with like rough things and things that really are uncomfortable and don't feel good, because this is the thing. Lube.
Mhm.
Lube, 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 lube. Everybody has their favorite lube, whatever that favorite lube is, as long as it's not Astroglide or KY. If it is
Uh-huh.
Astroglide or KY, then I'm going to judge you, and I'm going to tell you again, don't fucking use that shit. Especially for things like this. Don't do it. I would recommend either a thicker lube that's designed for like anal play, or a good quality silicone lube that stays slippery. But lube is absolutely key. Absolutely key. And you're going to want to use quite a bit of it.
Is that why they have tubs? They usually have
Right.
tubs.
Right. I mean,
They're like
right, they can just scoop it like the grease. It's like
some people look
grease.
like they've been doing it for a while. They just look very expert. Just
I read something once that like after you warm them up, like make sure that you put lube on if it's needed. I'm like, no, 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 no. Not if it's needed. Not if it's needed. Regardless of whether you think it's needed, you are going to want to use lube. Just your period. Like. Which again, warm up, like you can't just shove a fist into an orifice without warming it up. Use your fingers, use other toys, foreplay, etc. Like you want your partner, if you or yourself, depending if you are on the receiving end of it, you want to be relaxed, much like with anal sex. You want to be relaxed. Like this is so do things put things in there first and just if you are on the receiving end, remember to breathe and relax. A lot of what fisting is actually more mental and not just physical, because our bodies have a natural instinct whenever something is uncomfortable. Absolutely. Let me get that on a t-shirt. Is Our bodies have a natural tendency when something is either uncomfortable or doesn't feel like or is new. We have a tendency to tense up and be like, oh God, we don't want to do that. You do not want to tense up your muscles because then things are going to not work. So remembering to breathe and relax the muscles is really going to help you if you're on the receiving end.
Like
If
some
the
form of
receiving
meditation.
partner is AFAB with factory parts, external stimulation can help. Um, I mean, it can if you are AMAB and also have the factory parts, but if you are, you can do things in the front as well as the back. But if you are AFAB and you are fisting vaginally, external stimulation can really help with the relaxation, whether it's you're doing something with your other hand, whether it's something vibrating, whatever it is, that will help relax and be able to, let those muscles be able to just sort of be like, okay, I'm good. If you are on the receiving end and you are an AFAB individual who menstruates, be aware that around the time of your cycle, on that time of the month, the cervix is actually lower and tougher, which can make things more difficult and potentially more painful. So if you decide that you want to start getting into fisting, doing it right around the time that you're about to start your period is probably not the best idea. So don't do that. Um, and remember to experiment with different techniques and positions. There are different things you can do. You can try it on all fours. You can try it on the side. There's different things you can do once you
Oh,
start kind of getting getting into the swing of things. And if it's working, then awesome. All right. Here's some don'ts. Okay, now one thing.
don't tell me what to do.
Oh my god. So, and this is gonna go back to Laura's comment. Don't be under the influence, especially for the first time. You need to be able to communicate any real discomfort or pain. And if you are drunk, if you are high, whatever it is, you can't effectively tell if something is actually hurting. So
Mm,
if you are going to start dabbling in fisting the first few times until you are sure that this is something that you can do, that you're good and you've got, the whole thing down, don't do it while under the influence. It is not a good idea. It's,
yeah.
you may think, oh, it'll help me relax. Yes, but also it can make you not good at communicating. And
Oh.
at things tend to have a numbing situation and you don't want to do that. Like, yes, no, don't, no rings, take all that shit off, no jewelry, don't do it, no jewelry, no
Oh,
rings,
bracelets. Take a
bracelets, take your
bracelet.
watch off, take that shit off, like just don't do that. um so communicate, communicate,
If you're
communicate,
trying to keep your
communicate.
Apple Watch on, you just go ahead and switch hands.
Right. It you have a very large thing going into a very small hole and stretching it. There will be some discomfort. It's what it is. It's anatomy. Like it's what it is. But
It moves.
just like with anal, it's not supposed to be so painful that it's causing an injury.
Huh?
Like, it's not supposed to be painful to the point where you are injuring yourself.
I have
That's
never injured myself during.
if people, well, when you're talking about anal sex, we've talked about it before. If you don't warm up appropriately, if you don't use um enough lube or any lube, you can present tears, you can do all sorts of stuff. Same concept uh goes with fisting. Like, there's
Huh.
going to be discomfort. It is what it is, but you have to know the difference between discomfort, okay, now it's okay, and discomfort, and okay, this is not okay,
Oh,
you need to come out
yeah.
now, like this is not okay at all. Don't expect to master
Are we frozen?
fisting the first time out. You may only get as far as 3 or 4 fingers depending on your partner. If they're not um we're gonna have to cover some anatomy, Laura. Um if if this is the first time, especially if you're on the receiving end, Felicia's having issues with her internet this evening. So hopefully I'm still going. I look like I'm still going. Okay. So if you are, whether you are giving or receiving for the first time, then you need to be mindful that you may only get so far. You may only end up with 3 fingers or 4 fingers inside. You can't just expect it to, the first time out be like, oh, hey, no problem. I'm just gonna woo. So keep that in mind if this is your first time doing this. Don't rush it. This takes time. It takes patience. But also don't keep trying for hours. If all you get is like, you know, 3 fingers or 4 fingers in, and that's as far as it's going, don't keep trying to push it, like, pun intended. Like, don't. Learn when to say, okay, we're good for tonight, and we will try again later. Because things get sore, and then you're gonna get frustrated, and just don't. Like, learn when to say when. Hi, Felicia. Yeah, apparently you did. You gonna try and come back, or no? Okay. Um, so learn when to say when, and that's totally okay. That's like, And another thing is, don't go for depth, at least not at first. And as far as vaginal fisting versus anal fisting, you can only go so far when you're in the vaginal canal. There is the cervix stops, like you're right there. You can't just keep going. Like, you can't just that's not how it works. Anal fisting, however, is a little bit different because of anatomy. You can actually go pretty deep when it comes to fisting anally. And some people actually really like that. You can go find videos of people that are practically up to their elbow, like legit, like they're basically up to their elbow. That is not for everyone. And don't assume that just because somebody likes fisting that they want the deep, like up to your elbow kind of fisting, because not everybody does. And that's like, you don't need to aim for that. Like, that's not, Okay, quick aside. Laura, whether you are fisting somebody or whether you are just using your fingers or a toy or whatever, you're actually nowhere near the uterus. You're not going in the uterus. You're not going towards the uterus. The vaginal canal stops. There is a stop right there. The uterus is like up here, and then it's like over this way, and then the fallopian tubes and everything. The uterus is very separate. It's away from the vaginal canal. So regardless of what kind of penetrative sex is happening, the uterus isn't there. The uterus is not involved. The uterus doesn't get involved until either you have a period or you're pregnant. Other than that, the uterus just kind of hangs out and they're like, whatever, we're just going to sit here. So the uterus is really, you don't really have to, concern yourself about the uterus. You do have to have a thought about whether or not you're kind of slamming into the cervical wall, because that can be uncomfortable. So you do have to be aware of the risks. I'm going to say this again. If not done correctly, fisting can result in injury. Some of the things that could happen is you could end up tearing the vaginal or rectal walls. You could tear the perineum, which is I hate this word so much. It's the taint. It's the space between the rectum and either the base of the testicles or the vagina. It's that space right there that can actually tear if you're not doing things right. And you have to be wary of things like transmitting infections and STIs, especially if you are fisting anally, because the risk of transmitting STIs and infections anally is very, very high. You're dealing with things that, you know, so that's one of the reasons why gloves are very, very, very important. You may have small cuts on your fingers, whatever. Wearing gloves will minimize the risk of infection and STIs and things like that. And but honestly, it's no different than any other kind of. Oh, look, Felicia might be back. Hey! Hi, welcome back. Good to see you. Um so just these are things that can happen, but these are things that can also happen with like anal sex and things like that as well. So that's why communication is key. Lube, go slow, don't do dumb shit. Like, don't just try to
Oh,
shove your fist into an orifice and go to town. And in fact, when it comes to actual fisting, like I said, you're not actually making a fist like this and like punching, although some people are into that sort of thing. Generally, when you're fisting, you're actually going to start by going in kind of this way. Like, and then myself, a lot of it can depend on the size of your hand as well. My hands are relatively small, which actually make it great for fisting. But you kind of go in this
oh,
way, and then I'm actually able to like tuck into, like, you tuck your thumb, and I can make like a little fist. But it's not like a full on bam. Like, I always tuck my thumb, make it a smoother surface. But but you
I
can
feel
figure out
like,
different techniques. There's different things you can do if you go in like this way and you have your whole hand in there. You can like wiggle your fingers. You can like rub your knuckles up against like the G spot. Like, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do, providing your partner is comfortable and not like saying, "Okay, ouch, enough, we're good."
or is a prude like me.
So there you go. Yay, fisting.
Well, I'm glad I caught part of the. Just kidding. I caught most of the conversation, but I, I'm not sure that I am one for anal fisting.
It's not for everybody. Fisting is not for everybody. Just like
And over the
large,
years, I have become a
like,
little more, uh,
well,
not so
it's
nunnish about things, but, um,
not
I don't
everybody
know.
is made for it. Like, not everybody enjoys something larger in their places. Like, not everybody wants something that big. Not everybody, I mean, everybody's bodies are different, and yes, like, things can
Yes,
move, and
vanilla. I'm not as vanilla as I used to be.
in theory, I mean, in theory, anybody's body can adjust to a fist, just like anybody's body can adjust to things like anal sex and toys and whatever. But
Uh-huh.
not everybody wants to. And if you happen to be a like smaller, like slighter individual, and things are a little more narrow, fisting may never really be something that you enjoy, just because of the way that your body is built, and that's fine. Like, it's no big fucking deal. Like, if you want to try it, try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't be whoop.
And if you decide to watch adult films and support our sex workers, go with something that's a little more in tune and not so comical. I like to call them comical, but not so campy. Uh, because sometimes you can learn stuff. Because I feel like the ones that are less campy, and I don't want to say amateur, but the ones that are less campy and a little bit more real, they actually use technique instead of trying to
Hmm.
make like, oh, let's make the noise and make the acting so ridiculously laughable
Right.
that yeah. Also, did
Also,
you say no food?
uh,
Did we cover that?
don't put food anywhere. Um, oh god, I just lost my train of thought. Oh,
I'm sorry.
when it comes to anal fisting, I will say that poop happens, just like with anal sex, and you can you can douche, but you want to be careful because you don't want to clean things out so well that you rinse out all of the like good bacteria that is supposed to be there.
Uh-huh.
So if you know if you're squeamish, either get over it or don't fist somebody anally, because there's a good chance that you're going to end up with some poop on your glove, because that's just what happens. Get over
But
it
isn't that
and
the
move
risk
on.
when you have anal sex too?
It is absolutely, absolutely. And again, it's just one of those things, so just move
You
on.
know what you're doing. You know where it came
Right.
from. Huh?
Like it's really not that big a deal. Like it really isn't. It's not like you're gonna it's usually minimal, and you're not gonna
I
get it
also
all
have
completely clean.
another question.
Yes.
What is the cleanup like afterward?
It depends on the person. Um,
Because, like, do you
so
go clean up down there or what?
probably because you're first of all, there's probably going to be a lot of lube,
Yeah.
and if you there are a lot of AFAB individuals who, if they are being fisted, um, it can result in a really intense orgasm that may or may not result in things like squirting,
Oh.
because it's like it's that intense. Not everybody, some people might, but again, you're gonna have a lot of lube, and if you're fisting anally, there's also gonna be a lot of lube and potentially other things, because what we just talked about.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you just take the glove off, and putting down a towel underneath is usually a good idea. um you don't
Put down
need
a
a
tarp.
tarp. I wouldn't put down a tarp, but there
That
are
sounds
like there's
very
like
home.
right, like there's waterproof
Welcoming.
blankets. You can put down a towel, and then just wash it. It's super easy, but yeah, you're probably going to want to rinse off afterwards, just because lube and bodily fluids and things, enema
Nothing
fetish,
goes
oh
up my
no.
bottom unless the toilet paper rips. What does that mean? I'm learning all kinds of things from everyone tonight. Yes. Shit dick is a thing. Yes. Uh-huh.
My god.
Um, Wendy Ho did a song called Poop Dick. Yes. Not a
Yeah.
tarp. Not a tarp. Your home furnishings. We need to work on this. We need to. Not a tarp. what? What does it say?
God, and then Guido says that someone came to His Eminence's confessional at Ren Fair with a tale of a breakup over a boyfriend's enema fetish ruining too many pairs of sheets. Yeah, so
Oh, is that
enema
a thing?
fetishes are a thing, but also that's a good way to fuck up your good bacteria. Like that's not definitely not a good thing. And also, if you're gonna do it like something like that, that's when you need a tarp, not to do it on the bed or do it in the shower. Like
Oh.
don't don't do it in bed. Like don't do it in bed, especially if you're not going to put something down that can absorb. Like there's just too that is way too fucking messy. Way too fucking messy.
Uh-huh.
Like that's just no.
Strong
Nope.
wiper.
Your kink
Wow.
is not my kink. Your kink is okay.
I cannot wipe that strong because I would be yikes.
My God. Oh Lord.
Yes, you heard some shit.
All right. Oh, we actually have some quite a few current event things to talk about this evening.
Yeah, we kind of loaded up this week.
I know. We are informational. It's PBS After
If
Dark.
not anything, we we
We are back on our PBS After Dark. Um so
do you want to read
uh
one?
I put this one on. I can do this first
Uh-huh.
one. So this is actually kind of an interesting piece of news. The mother of a teenager who shot and killed 4 students and injured 7 others at an Oxford, Michigan school in 2021 was found guilty on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
Uh-huh.
This is kind of groundbreaking. Her son, who was 15 at the time of the shooting, pled guilty to one count of terrorism resulting in death, 4 counts of murder, and 19 other charges related to the shooting. Was sentenced to life without parole. The mother's defense attorney said the events were unforeseeable. However, the prosecution was able to prove that his parents knew he was in crisis and had access to the gun, but they disregarded the warning signs. In fact, not only did he have access to the gun, they actually bought him the
No
gun as an early
way.
Christmas present. Yep. Um, and apparently, like teachers found drawings on his desk of like him shooting people. They told the school administrators, who told the parents and said that he should probably be
Oh
in
my god.
therapy.
There's a
And the
paper
parents,
trail. Is that what you're saying?
oh yeah, and the parents disregarded it. Um, so she
Oh.
was actually found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. This is the first time in U.S. history that a parent has been charged for and found guilty of crimes committed by their child, which is going to be interesting because if this sets a precedent, this could make things very interesting coming up. Like,
Well,
mm,
it will set the people that have laughed at the Sandy Hook parents.
mm-hmm,
Um it will make those people that have been in Congress and made things laughable, like laws against gun control. Um, it will bring forth the light of those that say, like, it's not my fault my son stole my gun out of my closet, make
right,
them more accountable because
yep,
the time I have been out of high school for what? More than 20 years. And since that time, we have killed more people through school shootings and like open like massacres uh
mm-hmm,
then I think it was one of the wars that they had compared it to. Um and this is worse than on the street violence is what they've
yep,
compared it to.
yep,
We're killing people faster in massacres than we have gangs killing like other members of gangs
mm-hmm,
or killing people on the streets. So
mm-hmm,
this will make especially those privileged parents that were like, I didn't buy him the gun. He must have got it from somewhere else. You can't
right,
blame me." Yes, we can. We can say you need to be accountable for your children and be
yep, especially if
exact
they're minors.
that
Like,
this is another thing too. Laura is very right. Laura says, "My father had a few guns. I was more afraid of my father and would never touch them because you were afraid of your father." Now,
that's
uh,
a whole nother can of worms.
I don't want to open that, but I will say that parenting has changed over the years. So take it as you will. We could talk about that another time. Let's see. The next thing. This guy is coming back full droves. Um, Trump's not making the cut on some ballots these days. Nevada is the latest state to give him the cold shoulder. I guess they decided to leave the Trump card out of the deck this time.
God, I hope more states follow suit. Jesus, I hope more states follow suit.
What is it, like 3 or 4 that's done it? So I don't know how quickly they do this, but please, somebody. I know some of y'all are in multiple states. Can y'all send a letter or something? Do something, please, please. And he continues.
And it looks like Trump's attempt to dodge the legal bullet has hit another snag. A federal appeals court just gave him a reality check, denying his bid for immunity in the case tied to the January 6th insurrection. Basically
Uh-huh.
said, sorry, no free passes for alleged shenanigans during your presidency, buddy. Although he is still trying to get the Supreme Court to say that he has blanket immunity for literally everything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Do you think they will?
I don't know. It's tough
He
right
loaded
now.
it in his
The
favor, but I don't
it
know if they're gonna do it.
the head of the Supreme Court right now is in a very precarious position because it's basically going to come down to him. And he was
Just remember
appointed
he has to
by
be there for life.
right. He was appointed by George W. Bush and was like one of the main people when the whole Bush Gore Florida recount thing happened. Um and he's seen some shit. So this it's basically going to come down to, how does this judge want to be remembered? What does he want history to say about him? Um so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm hoping that he tells Trump to fuck off, and that there's no such thing as like a like blanket immunity, like that's and that he tells Trump that no, you are in fact an insurrectionist, and according to the 14th Amendment, you are not eligible to run again for the presidency. This is what I'm hoping, but we shall see. I don't know. At this
I mean,
point,
all
nothing
evidence
surprises
points that
me.
he hid somewhere, didn't answer his phone on purpose, and knew that people were looking for him.
Oh, he knew 100%. He started the whole fucking thing. He knows what it like. That's why he's trying so hard to get immunity, because he knows that he's going to be on the hook for it. Like, he knows. Like, it's I don't know. It's fucking it's a mess. I don't know. But at this point, nothing is going to surprise me. Nothing.
Uh, Speaking of surprises, at the Grammys, Jay Z didn't hold back from calling out the Recording Academy's snubs against Beyonce and highlighting ongoing lack of recognition for a Black artist or artist of color. He pointedly remarked, once exclusion was no longer an option, the inclusion of Black music has been curated to. Uh, I was going to read this quote, but in essence, he says that on the backs of Black people, we have raised music, and nobody recognizes Black music at the Grammys.
Yep.
Um, and I know that a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, he
Look,
outed
it's
it."
the bubble. Look, it's the bubble. Look, it's the oh
Did it go again?
yes. Look, there's the bubble.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay, pause. Pause the news. Okay, so we were recording for Patreon on here. We use Restream. And the other day we were using it, but we had it set where there was nobody on. Like we didn't connect to a live thing at all. So uh, this bubble pops up and the thumb comes up. And like I'm like, "Did you see it?" And so Freddie's looking at me like I'm lost my mind like he always does. But I was like, "I fucking saw a bubble pop up with a thumb in it." And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Trust me, I'm not losing it quite yet." But um so when he was editing the video, he saw the bubble, and I have no idea why the bubble just appeared, or what does this mean?
I don't
Did I
know.
do
And it just
something?
happened twice. It just happened twice.
Somebody pressed the thumbs up somewhere. I don't know what that means.
That's bizarre. I have no idea.
Bizarre,
Anyway,
bizarre, bizarre.
um,
So,
about the Grammys, I saw a thing that someone posted that Taylor Swift has more album of the year wins than a whole shit ton of Black artists, that some of them have none, which is mind blowing. Like people
uh-huh.
like Aretha Franklin, uh, Benny King, or no, BB King, um, Etta James, a few people that don't have album of the like what the and it's very clear with the entertainment industry in general that Black and artists and actors of color are ignored,
Is it my hand
are
motions?
I don't know. Like it's just
I do talk with my hands, but anyway.
like the it's definitely an issue, and when you start seeing things in print, it's
And
it's very like very obvious as to what is going on.
So
Like,
in that BET, marketing is my heart. Um, it said, "Come to where you're celebrated," and they're promoting the. I think it's the NAACP awards. Smart marketing. Uh, if you want to, I think you can vote on the NAACP awards too. I'll have to go back and look, but uh, Guido, what'd you say? Um, I knew the Grammys were bullshit the minute they invented a best heavy metal category and gave it to
yeah,
Jethro Tull. Oh, when did that happen?
yeah, yeah.
So also I looked up, do you earn more money when you get a Grammy? And a lot of like articles I was reading, it said no. So
I don't.
what of importance does this hold?
It's clout. It's all clout. That's it's what it is. It's
Because
being able to
I
say
feel
I have a Grammy.
like
I have a
Oscars, I feel like when you win an Oscar or an Emmy, you're allowed to like now tear up. Yeah, but I don't know if that's true for Grammys. And what I was
uh,
reading was very like, whoa. I was like, I cannot believe that people fight for this award, but now
right.
it's losing its flavor. It's losing its whatever. Let's
Ye-
see. I really love it just because I could see some live performances. Everybody's saying snub, snub, snub. Ooh,
And talking about the Grammys, Tracy Chapman brought the fucking house down when she teamed up with Luke Combs for the rendition of Fast Car. Um, and
this is a
while
banger.
it's great to see this classic kind of back in the spotlight with, a whole new audience and whatever,
I'm sorry, I was
it
kind of
always comes with this this
in my
this this
feelings when I wrote this
thing
stuff
because it's
last night.
like I think those of us remember when Fast Car came out, like
I do.
I think a lot of us really liked it, but I don't think it hit as much as it did after some fucking white dude decided to cover it, which is depressing as fuck.
No, I liked it
And
before because I grew up
I
on
liked
Tracy
right,
Chapman.
right, exactly. At 59, as a black queer woman, Chapman herself would have faced about as much chance of that solo spotlight in country music as a snowball does in the Sahara. Yet here we are celebrating her brilliance alongside a country white boy, and it's like it's
Again, proving Jay-Z's point
right,
that we couldn't give her her flowers while she was in her moment,
right,
but now we're giving this guy his flowers. First of all, there was some controversy over that she wasn't getting royalties or as much as she
mm,
had expected. So I think
mm,
that that was happening and that they were trying to play the PR
right,
piece of bring her on, let her lead,
right,
show that you care, play this little story
right,
about how I grew up on this song and I love it. It's one of my favorites. Somebody on one of the social platforms had dug through his history, has not seen him cover that song before it was a hit.
right.
So let's see. Uh, yes. Uh huh. It's
Yeah.
award shows in general.
It's
Uh,
not new. I think though
I would
with
say
social
even for
media and
local
things,
entertainment, it's the same way.
that is to say, oh my god, don't get me started on like the all white shows that I see this month. Like
I'm still available for some bookings.
I booked you on
Yay.
Friday. You're
For the
welcome.
rest of the month, I'm still available. Let's see. Fans of Beyonce, also known as the Bayhive, investigated and dug so deep, finding out that Beyonce was releasing a new hair care company called Sacred. It's spelled.
I hate the way she fucking spelled that. That is the
It's
stupidest
supposed to.
shit.
I know.
Stupid.
Calm down. Calm down. Uh, It's to go with her. I'll explain it later. It's to go with the line because she has like say Nayor
I don't give
and
a fuck. It's stupid.
it's her company. She earning more money than we spent now in a
It's still
day. What?
stupid.
I don't. I cannot criticize her. She is making more money than
Do you know
I
how many
am
people
in
are
a
going to
day.
mispronounce that because they're dumb?
Well, maybe that's how she wants to be. I don't know.
Mm.
She released a trailer and a teaser last night, and then there's some more stuff that came out. But it's coming. It's coming.
Yay. So I have some interesting stuff. The results from the 2022 U.S. Transgender Survey early insight report has come out, and this was a survey that was um, conducted. I believe there was like. I mean, it was the end of like the last quarter of 2022. So then they compile results and things like that, and then like release it towards the end of 2023. So there's like a weird little gap year. But there's some interesting data that came out of that. The survey itself is conducted by the National Center for Transgender Equality, and over 92,000 people filled out this survey, which means that over 92,000 binary and non-binary trans folks over the age of 16 currently live in the United States. And
Whoa.
that's just over the age of 16.
Whoa.
There are a lot. There are almost 100,000 of us, at least. And that's just the people that filled out the survey. That's not the people that, kind of the people that didn't fill out the survey or, that didn't even know the survey existed. So I'm going to say that there's over 100,000 of us. But per this survey, there were over 92,000 people that responded. And that
Oh
was
shit.
people 16 and over. Now, some data that came from this survey. 94% of the respondents said they were happier overall with their life since moving away from the gender that they were assigned at birth. That's a pretty good indicator that maybe don't try to force people to not do that. So,
Whoa.
Only 3% said that they were less satisfied. It's probably on you. 98% of the people who said that they were on some sort of hormones, whether, whatever, said that their quality of life had increased. 98% is massive. Like, that's pretty much everybody. And less than 1% said that being on hormones made them less satisfied with their life.
Huh.
Like that's
I'm sorry.
more than 30% of respondents said they were harassed online because of their gender expression or identity, as well as being verbally assaulted. And 60% of respondents who, between the ages of 16 and 17, said they experienced physical harassment, bullying, etc., at school and online.
Uh-huh.
That's not a good statistic, y'all. And more than 60% of all respondents said they were uncomfortable asking police for assistance if they ever needed it. Go figure. And about 25% of respondents said that they avoided seeking medical care in the last year because of fear of mistreatment. That's a quarter of people. That's a lot of people to say that they're afraid to go to the doctor because doctors and healthcare professionals don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I
That's
will
a
say that I've been to a couple of professionals where you could tell they're trying to figure out what's going on with all of this.
lot.
And you're like, can I just get some help, please? Stop trying to figure this out.
Lord, we've talked about some of the shit that I've seen at going to
I-
doctors and stuff.
I'm like, don't try to figure it out. Just up here, up here, my mouth, and then you figure out what's going on. I mean,
Right.
I cannot. And I have been in so many forums, and so has Freddie, where we have talked to even uh, executive teams of healthcare providers, where we've talked to um, people that are trying to get in sync with all of us. um, and I don't, I feel like it's like the slowest thing that they're trying to understand, and or provide quality care for. But if they just knock off all of the nonsense and got right into healthcare,
Right.
it
Like
would
it's
be
really not that fucking
right into
complicated.
it. And
Seriously, not
then
that fucking complicated.
and then if you want to talk to me about my story afterward, then I will give you all of the details that you need to know. Um and you know like even some of the conversations that I've heard about trying to get on prep, or we have uh Drake Jensen, who was on our show, has been on our show a couple times, went to the doctor and he has back pain and was
Hmm.
told that it's probably a STI.
Right.
Come to find out, he has like some degenerative
Right.
gene that
But
is
because
like,
he's gay, it has to be an STI, of course.
yeah, like when are we gonna have a seat at the like healthcare table when
It is 2024. This shit's ridiculous. This should not be a thing still.
we're not like making up. I've seen that too. If I see that again, yeah, making up genders. We're not doing that. I've seen so many things that I'm like, where are we right now? And I've had so many conversations just here that I'm like, when is that gonna like go out to the universe? Like, when are we gonna start feeling like people again, uh, or be treated like people, so that these people, what is that? 60% that you said? No,
Mhm.
25%. I'm
Mhm.
sure it's a bigger number. If a
Well, I mean, you
certain
figure, I mean,
it's gotta be a bigger number.
25% of 92,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Even if it's just one. I feel like we should be at a point where we are understanding this. Even if you don't understand it, you take it down a notch and you say, "How can I help you? Where can I wh- what can I do to be the best healthcare provider for you?"
Right. It's not that hard. Not
It
that
really
fucking
isn't.
hard, but whatever.
All I can say.
Eh,
That's all. Um Stomach cancer is the next thing. Toby Keith passed away at the age of 62 after battling stomach cancer. I did not know that he had stomach cancer.
I
Um,
didn't know he did either. Didn't really care.
but doctors, the only reason why I brought it up, and if he is or was homophobic or not supportive of our community, I'm sorry. But the only reason why I was interested is because I read an article which leads to doctors warn that signs of stomach cancer can be easily missed. Um, I and I didn't take the time to like copy and paste the article that I read, but it seemed like these are like normal everyday signs that maybe they like amp up over time,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh well, maybe I have heartburn, and then you're like, maybe I have heartburn, and then you don't go check, and then
Right.
all of a sudden it's like way too late.
Mhm.
So um he couldn't stomach all the wokeness, maybe. uh I did not dive into that part of it.
Interestingly enough, he actually was supposedly a supporter of gay marriage, but also a racist who wrote a song "A Beer for My Horse," which is literally about lynching.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, the point being, it really wasn't about him. It was about that I was alarmed that stomach cancer can just go undetected and you can
Mm.
just die.
Yep.
So now we have, like, oh, well, we can't really get health care, but we could die of stuff. Ugh. Don't even get me started about healthcare for seniors, because, whew, ugh,
Yeah. Healthcare in
ugh.
general in this country is a fucking mess. Awful. But
And
you
we
know
are
what's
not.
not a fucking mess or awful? What is happening for in our next gigs, Felicia?
We have the Drag Story Hour birthday fundraiser this Friday, starting at 6
There are still
p.m.
some tickets available. Get your tickets. Please, please, please support a fantastic organization. There's some great raffles.
Yeah.
There's going to be a good show. Myself, Justin Sider, Felicia's going to be there. Rita Bain and Geo. We'll all be out there doing our thing.
I'm not just gonna be there. I'm gonna be performing too.
You are going to be performing, yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you have anything else going on this month?
I have magic on the 25th. That I was serious. I'm open for bookings.
So am I, but also don't book me anywhere because I have too much shit I have to do. Um, and yeah, if if all goes
Possibly.
well, you might see a gaggle of us at the Ren Fair on Sunday, February 18th. That'll be fun. And then March 1st, a bunch of us are going to be in Tucson for Wild Wild West Con.
You're
And
welcome,
we've got the
Tucson.
good, the bad, and the naughty happening there. That's going to be a killer show. Got some drag, got some burlesque. Going to be amazing.
Some drag burlesque.
Mm,
You have to show up to find out.
mm. That's all I got.
That's all I got for now. Uh, I wrote my list out, but I did not include another one. Hold on. My next drag bingo is down the line on March 27th. Because I feel like somebody's going to say, when's drag bingo?
Is that a
Not
Wednesday?
until, yes, it is. So I
So
will
we're
be
going to
doing the
see on March
flight of the
27th if
bumblebee.
Felicia is going to be able to get her butt here
The flight of the
on
bumblebee.
time.
The flight of the bumblebee.
We shall see.
The flight of the
We
Fefe.
shall see.
We'll see. Oh, somebody's revving up the engine over there. Which means we gotta go. If you want to book us, we're both available slightly, but we have like things we gotta do. So choose accordingly. We'll figure it out, I guess. Thank you for tuning in for our Wednesday night conversation. I will start reaching out to guests. Yes, I see you in my inbox. No, I'm not ignoring you. I just am. I am
Are they good
lifing.
people? Like, are they people that can carry
Yes,
on a conversation?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Are they
Some people.
problematic?
No, some people are repeat. Some people have asked before, but I haven't fit them in before. So
As long as they're good guests, I don't want any boring people.
I have. I'm just peopling a little slow these days, okay? So you got to be a little gingerly with me. But um if I don't get back to you by like the weekend, just maybe creep back to the top of the inbox. That's all I can tell you.
You could also potentially message me as well.
Yeah, that works too. That works too.
I
But
am
if I
capable of booking guests.
yeah,
I
that
work
too.
here as well.
We work in a very small office under somebody's basement,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, we're getting it together. We have no HR department.
Thank you all so much for watching live, and for those who watch on the replay, and for those of you who listen to the podcast after the fact, we appreciate you. We have more than 10,000 downloads on the podcast, which I'm not mad about. I'm okay with that. So, that being said, we will see everybody next week for your Wednesday night conversation.
Oh
Good
my
night.
goodness. Good night.